Hello everyone. So as planned earlier, the third lecture today will be on gingiva. It is a very important topic for final year perio subject. Okay. So mostly it comes as a long essay and it may come as a short essay also. So the topic of gingiva, we will discuss this under three subheadings. First it will be the classification of gingiva, then it will be the microscopic features of gingiva, and third will be the defense mechanism of gingiva. Now coming to the introduction. This is just for understanding. You don't have to write anything. You can take notes if you want. So gingiva is basically the part of the periodontium or the periodontal apparatus, right? So what is periodontium? Periodontium is that structure which helps the teeth to remain in its position to function efficiently. Okay, it provides the necessary support to maintain the teeth in its function. Okay, so it comprises of, the periodontium comprises of four structural constituents. Okay, first is the gingiva, second is the periodontal ligament, third is the cementum, and the fourth is the alveolar bone. Okay, these four components vary functionally, morphologically. Okay, but they function as a single unit, right? Though they vary functionally, morphologically, in tissue architecture, in their location, okay, they still function as a single unit. Thus, pathological changes in any of these four components will reflect or will have consequent ramifications or consequences in the other three structures also, right? Now coming to the oral mucous membrane. So gingiva is a part of our oral mucosa or oral mucous membrane. Okay, so a basic quick review from your first year is oral mucous membrane, okay, or oral mucosa. If you remember, based on primary function, it is of three types. Okay, one is lining, one is masticatory, and the other is specialized. Okay, so oral mucosa, based on their function, it is of three types: lining mucosa, masticatory mucosa, and specialized mucosa. What is specialized mucosa, or where is the location of the specialized mucosa? It is the dorsum of the tongue, okay, the upper surface of tongue and the taste buds, right? Dorsum of the tongue or the taste buds. Okay, coming to masticatory mucosa, it consists of gingiva and hard palate. Okay, the rest of the structures like floor of the mouth, soft palate, lips, all come under lining mucosa. Okay, rest of the part, rest of oral mucus, oral cavity, rest of oral cavity comes under lining mucosa. Okay, so gingiva is a masticatory mucosa. Now we will come to the definition and classification of gingiva. Gingiva is that part of the oral mucosa that surrounds the neck of the teeth and covers the alveolar process of the jaws. You can see the definition here. Gingiva is the part of the oral mucosa, first part, that surrounds the neck of the teeth and covers the alveolar process of the jaws, right? So this is the teeth, an example. This is the neck of the teeth, the cervical region. This blue and red marking is the gingiva. Gingiva is that part of the oral mucosa that surrounds the neck of the teeth. See, in a ring-like fashion, surrounds the neck of the teeth. Okay, and beneath this there is the alveolar bone. So it covers the alveolar process of the jaws. Okay, there are three types of gingiva. One is the marginal gingiva, second is the attached gingiva, and third is the interdental gingiva. Okay, marginal gingiva is also known as unattached gingiva, okay, because it is not attached, okay, or free gingiva. So what does marginal gingiva say? It is the terminal edge or the border of the gingiva surrounding the teeth in a collar like fashion. If you see this diagram, this upper part which is marked red is the marginal gingiva. It surrounds the teeth in a collar like fashion. Okay, it is the border or the terminal edge of the gingiva. Now in 50% cases what happens, it is demarcated from the adjacent attached gingiva, okay, by a shallow linear depression, okay, एक पतला सा गड्ढा, okay, which is called as free gingival groove. Now if you see this diagram, this upper part is the marginal gingiva, okay, this red part is the marginal gingiva, okay, the blue part is the attached gingiva. These two are demarcated by a shallow linear depression which is marked in black. This is the free gingival groove, okay. Now it will be understood better if we see in the lateral aspect, okay. So this part is the marginal gingiva or the free gingiva, okay. After this there is the attached gingiva, and attached gingiva and marginal gingiva is separated by this shallow linear groove or depression which is known as free gingival groove, okay. Next point is the marginal gingiva is 1 mm wide. Usual width of marginal gingiva is 1 mm, okay, and it forms the soft tissue wall of the gingival sulcus. Now this is, suppose this is the teeth, okay. Now this is the marginal gingiva, it's like this, you can see this. So this gap is called the gingival sulcus, okay, this gap is called the gingival sulcus. Now gingival sulcus has two walls, one wall is formed by the teeth and the other wall is formed by the marginal gingiva. This one is the marginal gingiva. So marginal gingiva is forming the soft tissue wall of the gingival sulcus. So this marginal gingiva can be separated from this tooth by using a periodontal probe. See this line? Imagine this as a probe. If we put a probe here and move it like this or like that, it will separate this portion of the gingiva from the tooth. This is the marginal gingiva. Marginal gingiva can be separated from the tooth surface by using a periodontal probe. Okay, this depth increases in cases of pocket formation. Okay, so now there is a term called as gingival zenith. Okay, now what is this gingival zenith? See, this is a maxillary anteriors, okay. This is the boundary of the free gingival margin. You can see this is the boundary of the free gingival margin, and this pattern, this tide-like pattern is called as gingival scallop. What is this called? Gingival scallop. This pattern is called as scalloping or scallop. So what does this term gingival zenith means? It is the most apical portion. It is the most apical portion or part. It is the most apical portion of the free gingival scallop. Okay, this is the definition of gingival zenith, most apical portion of the free gingival or free marginal gingival scallop. It will be free marginal gingival scallop. Means this portion, okay, this is the apical most portion, the topmost portion of this gingival scallop, and this portion is known as gingival zenith. Okay, now there is this term called the gingival sulcus. Okay, so this is the teeth and this is the gingiva surrounding the teeth. Okay, so this shallow crevice or shallow space, this one, okay, this shallow crevice or space is called the gingival sulcus, okay, which is surrounded by the tooth on one side and the epithelium of free marginal gingiva on the other side. Okay, then what is gingival sulcus? It is the shallow crevice or space which is bounded by the tooth on one side and the free marginal gingiva's epithelium, this one, epithelium of the free marginal gingiva on the other side. Okay, it is usually V shaped. Okay, it is usually V shaped. Okay, and it barely permits the entry of a periodontal probe. Means under ideal condition, under normal condition, it barely permits the entry of a periodontal probe. Now, the depth of this gingival sulcus, this is the entry of the probe. This depth of the gingival sulcus is a very important parameter in various diagnosis, various clinical diagnosis in periodontics. Okay, so under ideal conditions, the depth is considered 0 mm. Okay, depth of gingival sulcus under ideal conditions, depth of gingival sulcus is 0 mm. Okay, but it is not possible practically. So in a normal healthy human gingiva, the ideal depth is 1.8 mm. Okay, the ideal depth is 1.8 mm and the depth ranges from 0 to 6 mm. Okay, this is the mean depth, mean or ideal average depth of the gingival sulcus. Average depth of the gingival sulcus. This is the ideal depth of the gingival sulcus and this is the variation in the depth of gingival sulcus. So, attached gingiva. As we have studied earlier, it is continuous with the marginal gingiva. This was the marginal gingiva and attached gingiva is a continuation of the marginal gingiva, right? So continuous with the marginal gingiva and it is firm, resilient and tightly bound to the underlying periosteum of the alveolar bone. Means unlike the free gingiva which was free, which was not firm, okay, which allowed the movement of this gingival portion, the attached gingiva is firm, resilient and tightly bound to the underlying periosteum of the alveolar bone. Okay, next point is facial aspect of the attached gingiva. So let me put it like this. Imagine this is my face, okay, this is my teeth from the lateral aspect and this is the attached gingiva. So facial aspect of the attached gingiva, extends up to the alveolar mucosa. So my attached gingiva, if I open my mouth like this, it extends up to the alveolar mucosa and it is demarcated by the mucogingival junction, MGJ, mucogingival junction. Facial aspect of the attached gingiva extends up to the alveolar mucosa and it is demarcated from the alveolar mucosa by the mucogingival junction. Now, one important topic in attached gingiva is the width of the attached gingiva. Okay, width of the attached gingiva is the distance between the mucogingival junction and the projection on the external surface of what? Of the bottom of the gingival sulcus or periodontal pocket. Now let's understand what is this width. So this is the mucogingival junction. We mark it like this. Okay, this is the mucogingival junction and projection on the external surface. This is the external surface. Okay, projection on the external surface of what? Of the bottom of the gingival sulcus. So this is the gingival sulcus bottom. So projection on the external surface of the bottom of the gingival sulcus. So this is the external surface and the bottom of the gingival sulcus reaches up to this point, equivalent to this point. So attached gingiva width is the distance between the mucogingival junction and the projection on the external surface of the bottom of the gingival sulcus, or if there is a pocket formation, the sulcus will be in more depth. So the projection on the external surface of the bottom of the gingival sulcus, or if there is a pocket, then the bottom of the gingival pocket, periodontal pocket. So this one is the width of the attached gingiva. Okay, distance between the mucogingival junction and the projection on the external surface of the bottom of the gingival sulcus or the periodontal pocket. Now what I'll have to remember is the width. Width is greatest in the incisor region. Okay, width is greatest in the incisor region and least in the posterior segments. Okay, least in the posterior segments, specifically the first premolar region. Okay, now what are the dimensions? 3.5 to 4.5 mm in case of maxi, okay, and 3.3 to 3.9 mm in case of mandible. Okay, now least in the posterior segment, specifically the first premolar. 1.9 mm will be the dimension, will be the width in the maxi, and 1.8 mm will be the dimension in the mandible. You will have to remember this. Okay, so this is the width of the attached gingiva. Now width of the attached gingiva depends on, width of the attached gingiva increases with age. Okay, increases with age and in supraerupted teeth. Okay, width of the attached gingiva increases in age and in supraerupted teeth. Okay, so now the width is, there is one more point, the width, the variation in the width is due to the variation in the coronal portion of the gingiva. Okay, the coronal portion of the gingiva is prone to variation, so this width varies. This portion, the mucogingival junction, the mucogingival junction is constant throughout the life, so width will vary depending on the variation in the coronal portion. It will not be varying from this end. Okay, so now we will move to the interdental gingiva. Interdental gingiva means gingiva between the two adjacent tooth. Okay, so it occupies the gingival embrasure, which is the interproximal space beneath the area of tooth contact. Interproximal space beneath the area of tooth contact. Now how we will understand this? This is one teeth, this is the adjacent teeth, this is the area of tooth contact. Now you can see this portion beneath the area of tooth contact. So the interdental gingiva occupies this portion, this triangular portion or pyramidal portion. You can see this pyramidal portion is occupied by the interdental gingiva. Okay, which is beneath the area of tooth contact. Now there are two shapes of interdental gingiva. One, you can see this is the pyramidal shape. Okay, this is the pyramidal shape. Okay, another is this one, caul shaped, COL, caul shaped. Okay, another is caul shaped interdental gingiva. So caul shaped interdental gingiva presents a valley like depression that connects the facial and lingual papilla and conforms to the shape of the interproximal contact. Now this definition seems a bit hard. Now we will understand with the help of diagram, then you will understand better. See this diagram. So suppose this is one teeth from the mesial or distal aspect. Okay, then there is another teeth above it. Okay, so this is, imagine this is the contact point. Okay, this is the contact point between this teeth and the teeth above to this surface. Okay, this is the contact point. So what will be the shape of the caul shaped interdental gingiva? The caul shaped interdental gingiva will be like this. It will be like this. Okay, it will be like this. This is the caul shaped interdental gingiva, which presents as a valley like depression. You can see this is the valley like depression and that connects the facial and lingual papilla. Now what is the facial and lingual papilla? This one will be the facial papilla, this one will be the lingual papilla. So caul shaped interdental gingiva is presents itself like a valley like depression, connects the facial and lingual, you can interchange facial and lingual papilla, and conforms to the shape of the interproximal contact. Means it will mimic or imitate the shape of the interproximal contact. मीन्स जैसा शेप का इंटरप्रॉक्सिमल कॉन्टैक्ट है उसी शेप का होगा अपना इंटरडेंटल जिंजाइवा, कॉल शेप इंटरडेंटल जिंजाइवा. ओके, नाउ shape of interdental papilla will depend on two things. Okay, one is contact point. This is the shape of interdental papilla will depend on two things: the contact point between the adjacent teeth contact point between adjacent teeth and presence or absence of recession. Okay, it is an important point. That is, the shape of interdental papilla will depend on the contact point between the adjacent teeth and presence and absence of recession. This finishes the types of gingiva. Now in the next lecture we will discuss about the microscopic features of gingiva. Please make sure to like, comment your questions and subscribe to our channel. All the best.